All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we are now going to talk about the Falcons making more moves and signing Pro Bowl safety Justin Simmons, who spent his entire career with the Broncos. So they signed him, and I did bring up yesterday. We talked about them trading for Matthew Judon. Now, the one thing I'll say with that is, there's no movement on a new contract. So that's something to keep an eye on, because could we end up seeing a situation similar to what we're seeing with the Jets and Hassan Reddick? Now, that remains to be seen, but that's just something to make note of. But as of right now, they just got him. But that's already people are bringing that up. So Justin Simmons, he was a free agent for a while. It was interesting that nobody. I would have thought he would have got signed just because he's been a good player. And here's some of his stats: 30 interceptions, 603 tackles, 5 forced fumbles. The Falcons signed him to a 1-year, $8 million deal, and now he will be joining a backfield. Well, not a backfield, but defensive backfield with now Jessie Bates. They pair him up with Jessie Bates, who they got from the Bengals in the previous offseason. And that's a nice little tandem that they got there. And once again, we looked at the Falcons, and I think a lot of people just pointed to the defense as, that side of the ball that needed improvement. And what the Falcons have done the last couple of days is they added a couple Pro Bowlers. They got Matthew Judon, and now they get Justin Simmons in the secondary. You got a pass rusher and a DB. And, suddenly you're looking at this Falcons defense a little bit differently. Now, Justin Simmons is, a little bit older, but, I think still got some good football left. And like I said, you're forming a duo now with Jessie Bates and A.J. Terrell as well, their top corner. So, you're looking at that Falcons defense a little bit differently, and could be a better unit in 2024. And, for me, looking at this division as a whole, I just think that the Falcons have gotten better. The Saints and the Buccaneers, I feel like, have kind of stayed the same. The Panthers have gotten better, but again, how much better? I still think they're going to be the team that finishes in last place. But, and that could all change. Now, the Buccaneers, I say they stayed the same, but they brought back all of their guys that got them to the playoffs last year. So it's not like they, didn't do anything. They brought everybody back. They brought back Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Antoine Winfield Jr., Levante David. They got everybody back, but they still kind of stayed the same. The Saints, they finished the season strong last year, but they kind of stayed the same as well. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I just think the Falcons right now are the team to win this division. If Kirk Cousins stays healthy, I think he's going to put up good numbers. And they should win. And I think this is the team to win the division. But only time will tell. Got to see how Raheem Morris is as the head coach. And Kirk Cousins is working his way back from the Achilles injury. So, but I think this was a good move, and it's a 1-year, $8 million deal, so it's, this isn't going to kill them by any means. If it doesn't work out, he's not going to be on the team long term. But I think this was a good move for them. And yeah, but he fills the void left by safety DeMarco Helms, who was out for a significant amount of time due to an ankle injury. So that was one of the reasons why this move was made. But yeah, this, bring him in on a cheap deal. You take that. So let me know what you guys think, though, about this move, though, for the Falcons. How do you feel about it? Because, Justin Simmons was out there for a while. I think he went for a visit with the Saints recently, and obviously that didn't happen. I know there was maybe a little bit of speculation that what if he goes back to the Broncos, but that ended up not happening. So, yeah, no, it definitely, this is a move that definitely will help them. And I wanted to take a look at Jessie Bates' stats because, they brought him in last offseason. He had 6 interceptions last year. He did have a pick 6, 132 combined tackles. He had 3 forced fumbles, 89 solo tackles. So he is coming off of a solid first year with the Falcons. He's 27 years old. But yeah, that's the combination that you're going to have with him and Justin Simmons now. And like I said, you also have AJ Terrell. So we'll take a look at his stats from last year as well. And last year he had 45 combined tackles. No interceptions on the season. He played in almost 17 games last year. But yeah, didn't have a pick last year. Didn't have a pick the year before that either. He had one in 2020 and 3 in 2021. But yeah, if you look at so now with the Falcons depth chart, adding Simmons, so you got Grady Jarrett, David Onyemata, Matthew Judon, AJ Terrell, Justin Simmons, Jessie Bates, Mike Hughes, D. Alford. That's what you got on the defensive side of the ball. So, the Falcons, they've tried to, rebuild this defense the past couple of years. So, hopefully, with Judon and now with Justin Simmons, they really contribute and build this defense back up. So, because again, you like the pieces on the offensive side of the ball, but now, let's see what they do defensively. How is this unit going to be? I mean, I think it's going to be better. Because when I went over the sack numbers from last year, and talking about Judon being brought in, and he had 15.5 sacks, not last year but the season before that. That's going to help out the defense tremendously. And that's going to make the other players around Judon better. So we'll see how they look when they play the Steelers week 1, because that's the week 1 matchup right there. So we'll get to see Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson squaring off. And we'll see, they'll be going up against, Kirk Cousins will be going up against a good defense in the Steelers defense. So that's one of the more intriguing matchups for week 1 is the Falcons and the Steelers, because you got 2 quarterbacks on new teams, and you also got Arthur Smith, who's going to be coaching against his former team now as the offensive coordinator of the Steelers. So I'm looking forward to that. It should be an interesting game. That game is in Atlanta. So I think that the Steelers were another team that maybe was interested in Simmons as well, because you could have had him and paired him up with Minkah Fitzpatrick. That could have been a good safety duo. But yeah, he gets brought in with the Falcons. Yeah, they are really making moves. So and I just wanted to look at, I know we got some of his stats up here, but I wanted to also just look at, go more in depth. Because last year with the Broncos, he had 53 solo tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, played in 15 games. I mean, for the most part, he has stayed relatively healthy. Played in 13 games his first 2 seasons, 16 the next 3, 17 in 2021, 12 in 2022, and 15 in 2023. Between 2020 and 2022, 5 interceptions, and then 6 in 2022. Has 1 pick 6 in his career. That was back in 2017. Does have 4.5 sacks in total. over the course of his career. So, yeah, I mean, listen, he's 30 years old. He's going to be 31 in November. So, yeah, getting older now, but again, still got some productive years left, I would imagine. So, but yeah, I think this is a good pickup for the Falcons. Again, does it really move the needle, though, in the grand scheme of things with the other teams in the NFC? Still don't think so. But they're going to be a good team. They are going to be a good team this year. They're going to finish with a better record than they did last year. That's for sure. You know, what did they go, 7-10? Reverse that. I think 10 wins is what they end up getting. I think that's going to be good enough to win this division. So let me know what you guys think, though, about that. So when we come back from our next break of the show, we will talk about a couple of things. We'll talk about Brandon Ayuk. We'll also talk about Matt Milano of the Buffalo Bills getting hurt and being out indefinitely, which it just seems like he just unfortunately can't catch a break. So we'll get into both of those things when we come back from our next break of the show. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.